Oh, wow, look at this.
37.
All right, guys, just me for a couple minutes. We're going to try to talk some poker here. Looks like Tonka raised it up here and bet the flop. Wait, no, I don't know what happened here. Came in too late, sorry. But Phil put in a bet here. Queen 5 off on the ace-9-9 board, takes it down.
Yeah, I could have folded for 10-7 on the river there. I was just frustrated that I missed, maybe.
A little bit of self-awareness and honesty from Phil there. I think everyone who plays poker knows that feeling. When you have a big draw and you miss, you end up making a
Felt like I had
call
you
than
on
you
the
otherwise would have.
flop, which I did. Still should have been able to get away.
Tonkaaaap flopping Phil here with Queen 5 off, hitting second pair. Phil checking back the ace high without the backdoor.
14.
And Phil taking a shot here on the turn after Tonka checked. Not a huge fan of this hand to choose to bet the turn with. Tonka obviously not going away after checking twice and having second pair. Weak kicker. And my guess is Phil will give up if he does not hit an ace here.
Ace.
Queen.
Yeah. I actually think if you want to get a bet in with ace-7 there, you're better off checking and then calling a river bet, because at least you can call and pick off some bluffs from Tonka. In that particular case, you still would have lost, but you end up strengthening your opponent's range when you bet. And with that particular hand, you want to keep your opponent's weak hands in, because that's the only way you can make money. Tonka raising it up with the Queen 3 off, and Phil with the dominating Queen. All in with Queen 10. So Phil's all in for 25K. What are the blinds? 6 and 12? Is that 20 blinds? Not my first hand to pick to jam for 20 blinds. I mean, it's definitely reasonable. I think it'll make money in the long run, but I think it'll make more money just calling. You can pick some other hands that don't play as well post-flop, but have similar all-in equity or calling range. A hand like maybe ace-deuce off, pocket threes. Even a hand like 8-5 suited. Queen jack suited for Phil. He limps in. At this stack depth, I think it's a reasonable
14.
play, though I think raising would be fine too. Big flop here for Phil. Tonga with a reasonable hand here. 3 to a straight, 3 to a flush with the 10 of clubs. Would not mind a float. We do see a call here from Tonga. And an interesting card. Tonka hitting a 10. Phil still with top pair. 2 flush draws. Bunch of straight draws. Phil likely to bet and probably relatively big. He does bet almost 80% of the pot here. Tonka clearly cannot fold now. If you call the flop King 10 and turn it 10.
How much you got back there, Phil?
Almost as good
20.
a card as it can get.
Exactly 20 almost.
Exactly 20, almost.
Exactly 20. You heard the man.
Mans is back, as you guys can hear.
He's back. The chat was wondering where I went. I'm back. I'm here for you. I know you're excited. I'm excited to to give you hard-hitting analysis.
Tonka does call 7 of spades on the river, so most draws miss. The 8-9 does get there. Phil likely to feel comfortable enough to continue betting, and Tonka going to be in a spot on the river for sure. King of Hearts, relevant card. I mean, not because it's the kicker, because you don't expect Phil to bet a 10 on the river, though he might, but also because it blocks some of Phil's bluffing, potential bluffing range, even though Phil hasn't shown to be bluffing in this type of spot very often. Some potential hands are straight draws, like King 9 or King Queen, and flush draws, like the King of Hearts with another heart. Wow.
14,000.
Phil going for it. 14,000
call.
is a large bet. Wow, and just get snap called. And Tonka just paying off Phil once again. Didn't really think about it too long. And really getting value down there by Phil.
Cooler.
Is that a cooler? Whose gaze?
No, that's absolutely not a cooler. I'm not saying that Tonka needs to fold that hand. I think it's definitely a tough spot. I think
Even match.
it's a nice bet from Phil, a nice hand overall from Phil. Able to recognize that he has the best hand, able to really maximize his value.
Are we taking a long time?
So, credit to Phil there.
Oh.
But a bit
I thought
unlucky
you meant
for
like
Tonka to,
decisions. It's
fold
we're
the
even
flop.
at 6-12.
Turn to 10.
We're hearing Dougie Pokes on the stream, commentating
Folded your first button?
from the Phil.
No. I folded another one in this game.
You did? When?
Yeah.
Which match?
This match.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you must have been short.
No.
Player in number 19.
It was early.
5-5.
The chat's wondering if we could get a one-chug Olivier going.
Not a big drinker.
Not a big drinker.
Not a
okay.
big drinker.
What if it was like
What an
Phil
unlucky
Hellmuth
turn
approved
card.
tomato soup or something?
Maybe. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe.
All
10?
Shannon, can we get this guy a tomato soup?
Yep.
You had ace 10 high or something?
Why is Doug
Wow, you see,
outside
That
Phil,
was
Phil
unlucky
just called ace 10. He just, I think he just called his hand ace 10 when it was king 10. I mean, that's
Is he lying?
impressive. I mean, you gotta give Phil some credit. It's hard. Some people don't want to, and I'm in the past have been one of those people at times, but I think Phil, showing a bit of impressive intuition in hand reading.
Frosty Nug Farms. You are correct. This is the 4th game. They're doing a best-of-7 series. Everybody buckle up. Get your pot of coffee brewing. We will be here for the next 16 hours straight.
And after that, a bit oddly played hand with the 10-9 of diamonds, where Phil paid off the river. With that
6-12.
Queen-Jack hand, he, even though he limped in, he won a huge pot, and they're basically even.
You put on a fabulous show.
The blinds have
should be
gotten pretty
happy.
big. So
They should be.
I think Tonka still should have,
And I'm sure they are.
I think, an edge, especially at these stack depths. Tonka, a lot of experience playing shallow, maybe not necessarily heads up, but in
Check.
general, playing the hyper sit and goes. I think he needs to be a bit careful calling off versus Phil on the river, but overall, I still think Tonka will be much more comfortable at shallow stack depths than Phil.
Would you say this is a hashtag good flop for Phil?
Yeah, I mean, Phil again with a monster, top 2. Tonka, though, likely not to get into too much trouble unless Phil just calls
I
and
raise.
he hits. Wow, yeah. Well, Tonka probably not going to do anything fancy now, I
7.
would guess. Just a backdoor straight draw, not even an overcard to the board, no backdoor flush draw, and he does let go. And I think with that hand from Phil, I think you can kind of play it either way. I think you can try to trap, or try to get some extra money in. And Phil takes a small lead. Remember, if they get all in and Phil wins, that's it. 2-0, match over. That's me and Phil tomorrow.
Would you say I could get my broom ready again if that were to happen?
2 sweeps. That's not what you would have expected at the beginning of the day. But of course, the lead is minuscule. They're pretty much even. And I think Phil limping in, though it does have some advantages as a strategy, I think overall will prove a bit difficult to maximize his positional advantage because the pots are just smaller.
Check.
Thuggarish. Calling me an internet nerd. Dangerous game, my friend. Dangerous game.
I would like to watch you fight Olivier. I am sitting next to a man, and I can assure you, I'm staring at his biceps. And if he is a nerd, he is a very well-equipped nerd. That would snap you in half. So maybe rethink that position.
And Phil rivering trips. Really making some good hands. I mean, let's be real. Tonka in a spot here where he just beats nothing. I mean, no normally played hand. Now, Phil does, sometimes play some weird hands. And Tonka has paid off some rivers that it didn't necessarily have to pay off in every spot. But this just looks, especially when Phil limps. I mean, Phil's limping a bunch of hands that are just right all
Every
over
river
this
I
type
called,
of
I've been
board.
wrong so far. I don't know how many you bluffed.
Man, this is, I really am not a fan of this call, if he calls. Yeah, okay, good.
Every river I
Olivia
called was
won't-
wrong. You had it every time. And that time you probably didn't.
Kind of a overly self-deprecating, negative attitude from Tonka. I don't like it.
I know.
I don't like it. He's got to have more confidence. Even if he's got internal confidence, I think he's got to project it a bit more. I think Phil responds a lot to body language and some of these
You're saying you want
subtle clues.
You want
some of
Tonkas
these-
to act a little bit more, do a little more of a
Just-
show.
Not even so much, but just like, I don't know, have a bit more self-confidence and
Check.
yeah, I think he would be better off, and it would affect Phil a bit. Big turn card for Tonka here. Open ender and a flush draw now. Phil with just ace high. Expect Tonka to call a bet at the very least if Phil bets, or bet if Phil checks. Phil does check,
85.
and Tonka puts in a big bet there. Regains the chip lead, does Tonka on that pot.
Just a reminder, if you are going to spell the word outs in the chat, please use a Z. Thank you for this PSA from the Mans.
J Reno 187, what was my diet when I fought that guy? My diet was mostly eggs, bacon, oatmeal, Chipotle, and sushi.
Is that a burrito bowl at Chipotle?
Call.
Yeah, I mean, no burrito, just the bowl, but yeah. Yeah.
You go with the chicken, the steak,
I went with the steak until the last couple weeks where I was trying to lose a bit of weight, and then I changed to the chicken.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get scared off by that? Yeah, we're gonna order some beer. Yeah, can I get a Miller Lite? Yeah. Yeah, 1 sec. Let me grab you. Let me grab my money.
Tonka putting a bit of a
Getting
streak
into it
together,
now.
putting a couple hands.
Yeah. Blinds are up. Did we start at 1 and 2? No, 153.
153.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's a long one.
Blinds are up. They're at 8 and 16.
The fans want a third, though, so. Even the Phil Hellmuth fans want to
Which
see
means
No,
we're
no, no, the
effectively
fans
playing
want it to
about
end.
30 big blinds. So
Fans want
you
me to
know,
win at this
any,
hand or something.
Any two
This
reasonable
hand?
hands
Or
could
next hand or whatever.
potentially get all in. It's like Doug is back here.
I don't have aces.
Doug, you
Let-
want to pick? You want to pick the mans or me?
You can have
Whatever you
anything
want.
else?
No hard feelings. Let's do it.
Yo, I'm seating my chair to Dougie Polk's. Enjoy the super dry, methodical, analytical commentary, you savages.
Thank you. What's up?
Check.
We're good. We are good to go. All right, what's up, guys? Doug Polk here. Back. A little nourishment. Needed that. I need a little break, a little breather.
You feeling good? You look good.
Thank you.
Sure, good.
Thank you. So
Check.
I
Check.
can't help but
Queen.
notice this match is still going on.
Yeah, there have been some interesting hands, for sure. Some interesting hands.
Looks like pretty even right now.
Yeah, it's almost exactly even. There was one hand where Tonka had 10-3 of hearts versus Phil's 10-8. It came 8-3-4
Very
with
tricky
2
limp. It could
hearts.
have ended if it came 8 high there.
Check bet call. Phil turned trips with an
I would
8.
not have put you on
Leads
ace
for
eight.
like a little over pot.
Match
After
could have
taking,
been
like,
over.
Crazy long time on the flop.
That'd be
call.
nice.
Tonka calls. River Jack of hearts. Phil jams.
That would
Obviously Tonka
be
calls
nice.
and doubles, and Phil loses it.
He was not a happy camper about
No,
it.
they played a couple interesting pots back and forth, and
Yes,
here we
sir.
are.
Yes, sir.
Call.
This has to be pretty good for you. You know, you're getting a good
It's fantastic. I gotta tell you, it's
a
I mean,
good look into what's going to be happening tomorrow.
yeah, I mean, I'm not as sure about like Tonka. You know, like I could see Tonka playing one way versus Phil, and then trying to play a bit differently versus
Yeah,
me, or
versus-
versus like if he was playing someone else. But
I know what you mean.
3,000?
yeah, but in general, I think it's can't really hurt.
Always good to have more info.
Yeah. Though I remember there was a time where I would like play online, and if like somebody that I knew had more experience with someone that I was playing and give me like their reads, sometimes I would just like screw that up. I'm just
Yeah.
like I don't know what I'm doing. Like
Yeah, it's always tough
go
someone,
overboard.
when someone tells you what their reads are, because usually they're not qualified well. Like,
Sure.
he does this. It's like, okay, but like how much, and like
Yeah, yeah,
how
yeah.
often did you see that? And
32.
although sometimes even if someone just played one hand and they tell you the hand, it can say a lot.
No, that's true.
Sometimes. I was talking about it earlier on the stream, but you know, we did a little battling, a little heads up, syndrome, not too much,
Oh yeah, a little bit.
but we did like a little.
You came into the Heads Up Sit and Go streets for a little while.
Yeah, like half a year or so or something.
Yeah.
Wasn't for me though. I didn't like it.
It's a bit brutal, isn't it?
Well,
bit repetitive.
I got wrecked. You know, mainly through just losing all ins and stuff. Just like ran Super Grinder EV, but
Yeah.
I also just didn't really enjoy it that much.
Yeah, that's a common thing people say, especially coming from playing Heads Up Cash, where you're
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
so much deeper and so many more interesting spots. And
Firing up 4 tables and battling people is probably my favorite poker experience I've ever had.
in cash,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because just like the realm for adjustments, and like especially when it was less, we knew less about kind of where the state of the game was at, and like what plays were for sure good or for sure bad.
yeah, that makes sense.
And there was a lot more styles, you know?
Right, right, right.
Just like
right.
firing up a match, just foretailing someone who had like a style and you had your style, and like just kind of duking it out. Like that's probably my most fond poker memory. Just like, you know, blasting some
Queen.
hip hop, taking it to the streets.
That's cool.
There we go. Bousquet greater than Polk, all forms of poker. Thanks, man. Good to be back here on the stream. Thank you. Luckily for you, I will be doing the talking tomorrow, and Bousquet will be doing the playing. So we announced the lineup for King of the Hill 3. I don't know if you heard it or not.
I heard, I mean, my boy's playing, right?
Your
Danny's
boy,
playing.
he's one of your best friends, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Dan is playing.
I have to say, I would love to see a Coleman Bousquet match.
Check.
It'll be fun.
Somebody's going to have to win.
Yeah, yeah. I got a text message and it was like, "Do you think Dan would be interested in playing King of the Hill?"
Check.
I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure he would." Let me pass on his info.
This has to be something that Dan would especially enjoy. You know, I mean, I know he likes higher stakes stuff in general, but on top of it, the fact that
It's
it's like
pretty high stakes.
a heads-up sit-and-go tournament.
It's pretty high stakes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is clearly high stakes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not, you know, as balling as Coleman is after the last couple of years, but you know, it's it's a healthy buy-in.
He needs something to distract him from his crypto grind anyway.
I know he's been deep in that game for sure. All right, so Tonka here on the turn, got a gutter.
Couple gutters here.
Check. Well, how many fire? I think he's going to.
I mean,
28.
honestly, out of all of the spots that Phil hasn't fired, like this is clearly the spot where his opponent has the weakest hand, I think, of all of them.
Right, for sure.
And maybe that's a coincidence, but it's
It also kind of feels the most natural to bet here when they bet flop check turn.
that's true.
Because it just feels like they don't have very much, and like it's more clear you can't win if it goes check check.
That's true.
Or you're unlikely to win if it goes check check. So yeah. Lines like this where you have wide ranges and your opponent shows some weakness, I feel like they're some of the most obvious bluff spots in poker, you know?
Sure. And Tonka a bit frustrated with that fold, looked like. I think he would have preferred to try to take the pot on the turn.
Almost raised you on the end there.
It's Maya button, right?
Yeah.
Not a particularly credible raise, I don't think.
Ooh.
Also
Almost
not
made the old 9-10 high raise, maybe.
Not a particularly credible sentence because he didn't really even think about it.
Well, there was one spot where Phil had
call
done
with your
something.
seven?
There was a similar spot where
Can't
Phil
say.
was like
I'll ask. I want to
clearly
have to
not
answer
going to raise.
Right,
But he
right,
took out the,
Huh?
you know how some people do that? Take out the chips, play with them in
have to
front of
answer
you.
that?
And it's like,
So
you're
I'll
never
answer that one
raising,
later.
bro,
I
you know?
I enjoy that.
Yeah, he like bluffed the bluff, you know?
I see, yeah.
Cool.
Like when someone says they almost did something, I think you can pretty clearly like look at that and see if like they're telling the truth or not. Like for example, earlier today, there was a hand where you called no with 8-3 of hearts, and the flop came 5-5-4 with a heart,
18.
and you checked and deep bet.
Yeah.
And like I was just like talking on the stream, I was like, well, you know, here's the thing, like you could work this into your raise range, but you already have like flush draws and straight draws. So if you go too crazy with these backdoor hands, you might bluff too much. So like it's definitely, you know, reasonable to kind of go either way with this one. And you thought for a while and you folded, and then you're like, I'm thinking about raising. There I'm like, okay, pretty clearly the guy's thinking about raising.
Right.
You took like, you
Sure.
know, 15, 20 seconds and folded.
Backwards.
But when someone just like immediately folds to the bet and then tells their opponent, oh yeah, I was thinking about raising.
Wasn't there a spot when Sean did that to me, where Sean was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I almost raised you"? And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, you
yeah.
folded before I bet.
Yeah, not too credible.
Yeah.
So
32.
this is going to be a best 2 out of
It's not
3
it.
tonight. We don't know how late it will run, but we are here. It has been 6.5 hours, and we're still just in round 2.
Yeah, I mean, we're
Yes.
about halfway into 8-16, so I mean, this match could end really at any point. You know, we're like 30 blinds deep. And even though Phil, you know, extends the match time on average by limping more than most players. At this depth, I mean, we could just doesn't take the threshold for a cooler is just lower
Call.
than it's been.
Yes, like a cooler, quote unquote, can be like 4s running into like ace jack.
Yeah, or on the flop,
One more.
like
Like
A
10
flush draw versus
5
top pair or
and
something.
10-4, and the flop comes like 10-4 deuce. Something like that.
Yeah.
No, it's his button.
Yeah,
What
my
are your
button.
thoughts on Deep's turn shove in that hand?
Yeah, check.
Yeah, I don't see much upside to jamming.
Thanks.
Yeah. He said he misread his hand. He thought he was suited. I guess he wouldn't have opened with 10-5 off.
Not really the most relevant.
No, it's true, but just
Sure, but I mean, he would open 10-6, right? And, like,
All right.
stuff
This
like
one.
that's just so whatever.
yeah.
This one
Here we
could
go.
be
What's
it.
this one? What's this one, Tonka?
I'm just gonna say that every hand until
Has
it's
he been
it.
saying that a bunch?
32.
Say what? Sorry.
This one could be it.
I don't think so.
He's just mixing it up,
Yeah, he's.
balancing his talk range here.
Yeah, I guess so.
It is kind of interesting here too when you think about it because we're even here in match 2,
Yeah.
25.
but match 1 was just
Did Phil just lead? Sorry. Phil just call that raise and lead? He's a gangster. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and I think Tonka's going to call. Kind of interesting pot developing. But we're like a couple hours in this match now, 2 or 3 hours in this match, and
5,500.
anyway, so we're a few hours in this match, 2 or 3 hours in this match, and the first
That one could have been it.
round ended just a straight flip. There's
Would you have
jacks,
called a
ace,
re-raise before the flop?
Right,
no.
sure.
full stack basically.
He
for
had
both
big
players.
hands.
So really, in terms of like skill edge, like how much money is won in like the non-showdown pots, the small pots, the not all ins. I mean, they're basically even other than
Call.
that one hand. I think Phil might have had a slight lead in that match before the all in.
Yeah, Phil has gotten. He got some, I think, pretty significant value with the 9s.
Right.
There was another hand where he limped Queen Jack suited, came Jack 4 deuce, I think,
2,000.
2 clubs. Check bet call against King of Hearts, 10 of clubs. Turn 10, check 80% call. River 7 offsuit, check like just over pot, snap call, which is an impressive value for
Wow,
Phil.
that's solid value. He
Yeah.
really.
Yep.
Now we might be able
Yep.
to end it in one hand for the good guys.
And that was like, Phil was
For me, indeed.
relatively short.
I think I
He
have-
had
I
like
might have you
lived in
covered
a bit
just
over
barely.
20 big blinds.
Oh,
The
wow.
good
So
guys.
he
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
doubled fully.
Oh, we got
I'm
some
definitely
aces
the
here, by
good
the way.
guys in this
Wow.
scenario, for what it's worth.
Really?
Most definitely. 32.
Interesting fact, this is actually my favorite hand. Everyone has a favorite hand, to each their own. Me, I'm kind of a classic aces sort of guy.
I'm always a good guy.
Have you done well with aces?
I haven't
Check.
checked, but I think so. It feels like I have.
Okay, I don't mean have you checked your database, but I mean like, are there some like outstanding live
Trap
spots?
here, by the way. Got not gonna really.
I like this check back. What about you?
Yeah, I like it a lot too. Block a bunch of calls.
Yeah,
Essentially you got the value.
it's almost impossible to get drawn out.
Oh my God! This might work out?
8,500?
Wow.
Oh my God! He just got him.
Wow.
He just got him here. He's got Phil on the hook.
Wow.
I wonder what Phil is putting.
Take
Tonka on.
your time if you're Tonka.
Definitely.
Oh, this is so fast.
I think in spots like this, you just always take your time because it's a bigger situation, especially when it's a weird spot. You just kind of have to balance it,
Wow.
Now this river is a lot worse for Still than many people because I think the traditional style is basically never going to have a 7 here on that check raise. But
Check.
we have seen a lot of thin raises from Phil kind of across the board.
And Tonka just praying that Phil is a 9. But Phil just has 6 high, and this is going to go bet fold.
It would be one of the most gangster moves of all time if he just check raised him all in here with the 6-4. It'd be one for the
Do you
books.
think it would work?
I mean,
I don't think it would.
I don't know, man.
Nine.
He could definitely have a 7.
That check the river?
No, I'm talking about Tonka.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So Tonka might feel like I have enough 7s
That
here.
may have been a bluff. That was too big
Okay,
to ask.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You still owe me one.
That was definitely too big to ask. You probably got to wait till the next match, to be honest.
I guess they're out of their
Next match.
reveals.
It
It
might
has
not be
been
a
an
next match.
extremely
Oh,
long
there'll
time.
be
It's
a
true.
next
I guess I
match.
just
Really?
I didn't notice
I
them.
fucking hope so.
I hope not.
I'm gonna be real sad if I
Blinds
lose a
are up.
flip and then we play for this long.
Dude, you,
And you just
were
white
supposed to go,
magic me.
you 10-3 to hurts me a long time ago.
I also like that when Phil complains about hands, his opponent never responds by saying, "Oh, well, you did this." You just let it slide. 'Cause you're like, it's Phil. You know.
Yeah.
No matter what happened, he's gonna complain about a hand or two. So you just don't even really like give it any legs. Like, do you think in his head he realizes, hey, I want to flip to win the first match, so I'm like lucky to be here, or is it like that was skill, and then you hit that bullshit flush against me, and that's the reason I haven't ended this?
I don't think it's so much that that was skill, but it's just that like he realizes it without giving it the appropriate weight.
Right. Okay. That's
You know
fair.
what I mean?
Yeah.
He just like
Well, it's actually it's always easy to brush off wins. It's always easy to like.
sure,
kind of
sure.
put-
Yeah, I mean I think we all do it to an extent. It's just like some people try to mitigate those biases,
yeah.
and some people allow them to dominate. And I think it's particularly jarring in the poker community because so many of, I mean, I don't want to say like us, but so many members of the professional community make it like a
20
point of pride to try to not let these different forms of cognitive bias
That's
like
a lot.
influence their
Oh,
thinking.
absolutely.
So it's like when you see someone in the community that seems
You've
to
been
not
playing most of your big blinds.
make an effort or not even care about it, it's
Because
like
you raise every hand, so.
it's particularly kind of
But I
disconcerting.
folded 9-3, 9-3, and deuce 3, unfortunately.
Totally agree with you. Poker's been kind of funny for me because, you know, when I played small to mid stakes, for a particularly long stretch of time,
Suit check. Check.
I ran way under EV. And I feel like it kind of got to me a little bit where I was aware of it. You know, obviously I played only online, so I could see it. And like, it just kind of got to a point where I started to feel like I was going to lose because it was almost outside of my control. And
Yeah, I mean, and that's a feeling that I think so many people have had. But at the same time, people get to that feeling after different like statistical,
Honey, I'm on national,
Right.
I'm on global
you know, points. So like
television playing a match.
it might have been tougher for you to get there.
Yeah,
So like
for
when
sure.
you do get there, it's like it's because it's been so much over so much period of time.
well, it really worked out because
I mean, if I lose 3 hands in a row, I'm there already after 10 years. You know?
yeah. There was definitely a comment you made when Deep called with
Check.
fives. You made a little bit of a sassy river comment.
Did I?
Yeah.
Wow, I must have not
Yeah,
realized. Picked up on that.
The guys in the chat, if you guys were there for the little sass in the chat.
What was my sass?
You said like, good call, good hand, or something like that. But it was like
3,000.
clearly,
Oh, that's so funny. That was not being sassy at all.
I
promise you that was being
not
genuine.
buying
When
it.
I had the 8-10 of clubs, I promise you I was not being sassy.
I am not buying it.
I
I
promise.
sat right here and watched it, so
I remember that exactly. Oh my god, I can't believe that. That's so funny. I really was not. I did not mean that like in a way like that.
it didn't come across like that.
I can see that. I can see that.
But anyway, at some point, I realized that like
Check.
I had to put it behind me
Deuces.
and just not focus on it, you know.
Sure.
And a really funny thing happened once I did that.
Tight
Started
check.
playing better, and I also started running.
Sure.
I
Like
feel like you had
way
to check
better.
that one.
And
Against
through
me.
my nosebleeds, like poker career, I
could
just
bet
have run.
that, though.
Just so
Very
good.
That's
tight.
a little
Very
tight.
tight check.
So pure.
All right. I'll give you credit.
Pretty
for
rare
tight
that
check.
someone acknowledges that, by the way.
Yeah.
No, you don't really see people make that type of acknowledgement.
I mean, I just take a step back, and it's not to say I didn't play well. Like I think I did play
Obviously.
well.
Obviously.
But I won the one drop this year.
Yeah. Oh,
you
so
know,
you're including live
I'm
poker?
including tournaments
Oh,
for
okay.
sure.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that. Yeah. I mean, I think that's. Yeah. That's.
But also in cash to some extent as well. I mean, just in general.
That's so funny, man. I really didn't mean to be sassy. Like I just wouldn't do. I'm not. Yeah, I can be a real dick, you know. But like in that scenario.
3,000.
Do you feel like you
Do
control?
you think that was a river bet, by the way?
with eights?
No, with the 10-8 of clubs. My hand when we're
Oh
talking
no,
about.
I like how you played it.
Okay.
Got a little pair over pair action here, by the way. Tonka's got Hellmuth out kicked. Queen the turn.
How is there 10K in this pot?
Because the blinds are huge.
7,000.
And there
Okay.
was a flop bet, right? Or was there even? Might have been.
Oh
check,
yeah.
check.
Wait. What are the blinds?
The blinds are 1K, 2K right now. The blinds are massive.
Sick. There's 17K. Oh, Phil keeps betting this hand. That's why.
Hellmuth is he's gonna have some trouble here.
I think Phil bet 3K on the flop. That's how they got to 10, and then he's.
Oh, I'm
betting
sorry. It was a
seven.
limped pot.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Interesting. Tonka thinks he's got a call here in the turn.
And now it's gonna go check. Yeah. Oh, but they're gonna chop. Disappointing.
3.
Chop it.
That's a bit frustrating for Tonka.
Yeah.
24K in the middle.
Yeah. It's a lot.
that's a quarter of the chips in play almost.
It's a
Like,
lot of the chips.
That's a lot of the
Oh, I
chips in
thought
play.
maybe you had a king.
Me too.
What?
Yeah. Normally, when I put my opponent on top pair, I check.
Yeah, you do.
But I also don't often put them on one hand like that. So it's kind of a blessing and a curse, so to speak.
In fairness to Phil, though, he might have put him on a king after he had called the 7K.
Right.
You know, which is why he checked.
And your
the river.
your hands are kind of tied there because there's really no way around betting that 7K on the turn, you know, and then knowing you're behind when they call. So that's definitely not where you want to be. I mean, it just plays itself really.
Doug's deadpan, second to none.
There's some good deadpan out there, especially in the poker community.
Yeah, no,
there's a lot of good guys.
Competitive environment.
Yes, definitely a competitive environment.
Check.
We got a lot of personalities at poker. We
We
got a
do.
lot of interesting people.
I've spent the last almost 4 weeks with Sam Grafton. He
Nice.
came
Yeah.
and stayed with me, and he is, man, he's like a
4,000.
lot of personality.
He's a funny dude, though.
He's amazing. Yeah.
Some of his tweets are amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so we got to check back on the flop call turn from Tonka. I actually like this line a lot on these stacks, just because if you bet
Check.
and get raised, it's just such a disastrous situation for you.
This is gonna be interesting.
Can it really be that interesting? Isn't this just a very clear bet for Tonka?
Yeah, but what's Phil gonna do?
I don't think he can call.
Have you ever watched Phil play poker?
I have actually. I actually have played Phil before.
Have you?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, you were right. Just
Yeah,
snap,
look at
folded.
me,
Look at
me
you.
go, yeah.
Oh, you knew that.
But you know what?
That's a bit surprising.
Who's really to say anything? I mean, I lost to Phil, and here you are sitting in the finals, the king of the hill. So
I mean, I haven't played Phil
I
yet.
mean, that's
much?
actually a really good point.
At the very least, though, I will have 2 chances. If I lose the first match, it's not over at least.
Who would you rather play right now? Who would you
28?
prefer to play if you had to pick an opponent?
I mean,
yeah. God dang it.
I think Phil,
Finally
but
got a flop.
I don't mean that in a way to disparage his game. I think it's like he's such a
Just had a bad feeling you
character,
hit
like
it harder.
a
Yeah, I'm
outsized
with you.
person in the poker world. I think it'd be fun and exciting to play him.
I'm all in.
And I am interested in.
Ooh. Limp fold on 15 blinds from the button from Hellmuth with 10-9 suited.
The jam with 6-4 suited. And this, to me, even though it's traditionally a spot where edges are smallest because the stacks are so shallow, this could be a spot where Tonka could really put Phil in some, I mean, depending, right? I mean,
Right.
sometimes
Because
Phil
even
plays
though-
these shallow stacks pretty
I'm
poorly.
trying.
Sometimes he doesn't, but
Sure. Because even though the edge in big blinds is low, in chips it's actually quite high.
Right.
So if you're making like a half big blind mistake or something, you're losing like 1,000 chips, and you only
raised
start with
5,500
50,000. So
more.
they can really
yeah,
add up.
no, that's a perfect.
We have a
explanation.
bottom of range raise here out of the big blind from Hellmuth. Taking it down.
That was a check with that was a limp with Jack 6 suited and a raise with 6 deuce off.
Yeah.
Gangster.
Yeah. Gangster. 3.75 blinds to go.
Why did you coin the term white magic? Where did that come from?
Because it was weird. It's like the world didn't understand when I was talking about reading ability. So like, why didn't you put all your money in with Ace Jack? And I'm like, I read the guy at Ace Queen. And what do you mean you read him? People seriously didn't like. It was weird. And I'm like, wow. To them, it's like white magic. That's how it started. Like it was unbelievable. Like I kept saving my stack with hands that everybody else would go broke with, and they kept asking me about it. And I'm like, well, I just knew he had it. What do you mean you knew?
Hellmuth.
I said it's magic, and I didn't want to. Black magic just sounded like too negative, like black magic, So I decided white magic.
All right, well, all magic aside, we're back to playing some poker.
What do you think about that explanation, by the way? You good with that?
I mean, I'm about as good with it as I am with a lot of the things that Phil says.
Okay, fair enough.
It seems like something that could have been said.
So basically, you're giving him credit for being internally consistent.
Yes. Phil Hellmuth is many things, and of it, consistent is certainly part of it.
Okay, there you go.
The man is like, he only has one gear, and that gear is just smooth, straight Phil Hellmuth, just all the time, just constantly. Right? I mean, tell me I'm wrong.
Sure. Hey, I mean, I don't have enough experience, but it seems that way.
Is Phil ever, saying things, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really sound like Phil Hellmuth. It always sounds like Phil Hellmuth.
Man, look at him trying to realize the equity with the deuce 3 off.
He loves it, man. He loves the deuce 3. He loves the bottom of range.
All in with queen 9 of hearts. I don't know about that. I mean,
Your best
definitely
strategy is just
profitable,
moving
but
in the dark every hand.
Every hand. That's always my strategy. That's
That's
always
not
my
bad.
best strategy.
And you'd be 2 or 3 to 1 underdog, but you'll probably be that anyway.
Just overall.
dude, you'd probably be that anyway. He said
3 to 1 underdog
He's confident.
Yeah, I mean,
to
he
win a
definitely.
heads up. Listen, Phil, I know you're the world's greatest.
not what
but
I'm
you're
talking
not
about.
that good.
talking
Honestly,
about
like
per
looking
pot.
at Tonka's
Per pot.
body language and stuff, he
like
seems
when we
super
finally
at
get it
home
in, I'm on.
at this stack depth.
I mean, the guy's played a lot at this stack.
Yeah, totally.
Like, he I think he played primarily 6-max and 9-handed sit and goes.
Yep. And hyper still.
Damn, he
And
is all
hyper
in
sit,
every
yeah.
hand. Whoa.
So this
I
is
could win this in 2
certainly where
hands.
he's the most experienced.
Can indeed.
And it looks like he's developed a big lead here.
2 hands.
I wasn't even fully aware that he had this big of a lead. So Phil down to 11 bigs.
I mean, you realize how fast the stacks change, right?
Yep.
The blinds are 1K, 2K.
Yep.
Phil has 23K.
Yeah.
Full 3 hands, you lose like 25% of your stack or something.
Wow. Tonka with ace king suited.
Now this
I
is the time.
I was
to run
suited
hot.
and connected too.
If there is a time.
I was. I was suited and connected, touching. and
12,
folded.
24. 12, 24.
Deuce 3 of clubs.
What's that?
I had the deuce 3 of clubs.
No, but how much you have?
Could be exactly 20. Is that right?
What do you think
right in
about
that
asking
range.
your opponent how much they have? Like, you could just count your own stack.
Yeah, but I will counter that. You know, as the bigger stack, you have so many chips. It's so much
Wow,
more
he's
work.
moved on like 8 hands
Also,
in a row.
also,
Come on.
also, and I think this is me you're underestimating. By doing it, you show power.
It's big blind
Okay, like
2400.
about how much? I know it's not very much.
Bro,
How much you got?
he moved in 8 hands in a row.
No,
So
you
this is the thing. This is like
don't.
something you consider.
we're playing for
is like,
50K,
Like
let us
displays
play.
of dominance.
Yeah,
when you
Doug,
play.
don't be jealous.
Let us play. Let us play. You know, come on.
I'm currently complaining.
Let
by
me
the
let me
rail,
just
by the
take
way.
the kid.
Sure.
You know.
I like yelled at them like, we have lives. Like we have to end this at some point.
I mean, at this point, it looks
Uh-huh.
like it's going to get to a third match.
Call.
I mean, never count out. Never
call
count
whatever it
out
is,
Philly
24.
Hellmuth. At any point, right when you think it's over, he's just right there and you fold your trips. You could fold trips.
If it's
at
happened
any
once, it's
point.
happened a million times.
I can, yeah, at least. Both players brick. I think Hellmuth's going to take this one down, though.
3,000.
You got it.
Phil is not deterred by
Sick read.
Phil is not deterred by things like
can I get a couple
stack
more?
depth. That, like all these, you know,
break the
some
point?
people they just feel like they have to go with it when they have
That'd be
to,
good,
and
thank
like Phil has his principles,
Yeah.
and he sticks with them.
He'll never be
Yeah.
peer pressured by math.
He'll tip you.
Right? He's not gonna just be like, oh,
He gave 20
sure,
he gave
like I
20
should
last time.
believe in Nash equilibrium.
Can't be shown up by Phil,
Yeah,
I guess.
sure. Tonka's right here
If
though,
I
man.
have it. Thank you.
He's right here.
That's all right. Keep it.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You don't have to tip at the same level.
No, I will. I don't wanna look cheap.
5 or 10's respectable.
I'm all in.
Whoa. Whoa.
Ooh, that's a king. Okay, I call.
All right. You're a 3-1
just thinks-
favorite.
I think he just thinks that Hellmuth's just gonna be too tight.
Well,
But-
2-1 anyway.
I mean, can't you just limp the 9-4 off?
not if you think your opponent's gonna be too tight.
Your opponent's got to be way too tight.
I'm not defending it. I'm just saying
I know
what
you're not.
I
No, no,
assume he's
yeah,
doing. I
sure.
wouldn't do this either way.
This is going to be tough. It's going to be tough to win with the 9-4
Yeah,
off.
but there are nines. Okay.
Yeah, what about now?
20,000.
Now it's going to be a lot harder.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess 20,750, but let me count these. 2, 4, 6. This is 18,000. 20. 20,750.
And just like that, they're almost even.
I mean, that's the thing. It really is anyone's ball game.
Nice call by Phil. King 10 of hearts.
You caught me.
Finally caught you.
And I'm never lucky, so I'm not ever getting there.
I call.
Check.
That was a pretty bold play though with the 9-4. You know, he just had to go with what he thought was the right play, I guess.
3,000.
I think it is pretty likely that Hellmuth is going to call tighter
Tighter than he should.
than he should. Now, I'm not saying that maybe 9-4 off should be in the old Jamaruski range, but I don't know. I don't mind a notch tighter, or notch looser versus someone like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Like what's Nash there? Like jam 9-7, fold 9-6.
I think that's right.
I say this with as certainly not the short stack expert here, but
I think that's right.
so yeah, maybe 9-6 I'm fine with. 9-5 I'm getting like
Yeah, no,
Check.
9-6 I would have been fine with.
Would you say you have a similar approach to the way that I approach
Check.
poker in that on the close spots I'll use like some reads, but otherwise you try and play like a pretty theory based game? Or how would you describe yourself?
I would say I am trying to become more and more like that as I develop a more formal theoretical foundation.
Sure.
In the past, I've relied more, and I would say too much on whether it's some combination of intuition or reads or let's just call it emotion.
Okay.
You know.
I mean, you don't have to say let's call it. I mean, it is emotion, so.
Yeah. But emotion is an umbrella term under which there are more
Right.
specific descriptors.
Okay. I'm picking it up.
You picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah, I'm picking it up.
All right. So we are pretty much even now.
So by the way, if you're just joining in, if you've been here for this match, which has now gone on or for this round of the match, which I think has gone on for 2.5 hours, but I could be wrong. You have effectively wasted 2.5 hours because we were at exactly the same stacks when we started.
There's been a bunch of entertainment.
I mean, you can't deny that.
We've had the mans a couple times.
I know we did. We definitely had the mans. We definitely had the mans.
5 more.
But here we are. We are at starting stacks.
What are we at? 12:24. Yeah, so we're like at 20 bigs. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were asking what time is it. It's actually 12:58.
Oh.
But you meant the blinds.
I meant the blinds.
Yeah.
It's 1 in the morning.
It is 1 in the morning.
Man.
We have not started round 3.
Brutal.
If we get there.
Sounds like you guys need a little bit of a pick-me-up.
Did that get through? I don't know if that got through.
I bet you they heard it.
Yeah, they heard it.
It's time to bring back One Chug Doug.
One Chug Doug. I'm out for that. Someone already yelling One Chug Doug in the chat.
It's your new thing, dude. You gotta live with it.
It's my thing now, Jesus.
Sloth rack. Brutal. Doug, every time I listen to you, I'm confident I've wasted my time.
Ouch, guys. Ouch.
I don't normally read the nasty things people say, but that one was funny. Especially because it's Doug, and like Doug is such valuable content on a daily basis.
The thing is, though,
That might have been a frustrated bluff there.
Fuske or Mans?
Why does that have to be frustrated?
Okay, guys. If you guys would want a solo commentator here
Good point.
for the next 15 minutes, who you got? 1 in the chat for Busquet, 2 in the chat for me, 3 in the chat for the Mans.
48.
Said in that voice specifically.
I think there's going to be a lot of 2s and some 3s and not a whole lot of 1s.
I don't know, man. Just don't sell yourself short. Look at these 1s. Got some 3s in there. This actually is pretty. Ooh, that stretch of 1s though. That's a lot of 3s, actually. Do you guys like the Mans? We got some Mans fans. Some Mans fans.
Player 1, player 26, player 24.
Yeah, this is it's a fair fight. It's a fair fight.
What just happened here?
Well,
this is a raise into just a call from Phil with ace deuce. Okay.
one person was dealt pocket 9s. The other person was dealt ace deuce, and
You
we got a
think Phil's
flop.
going to go ballistic here?
Well, he's definitely going to call at least the flop. I think that's certain. After that, the world is oyster.
Check.
Wow. Scary card. This card scares me when I have 2 9s. And check.
Check.
13,000.
So a little bit. So a little big, but you could definitely get it. Sorry, what did he say? 8-4, I think.
Oh, yeah. Control, Phil.
Easy, he knew.
It's been a long one. Phil just won't die.
Tonka up almost
Yeah.
2-1 now.
Well, it was almost over on that hand right there. I almost called the 84. I could have moved in before the flop also.
Like ace jack or something. Sorry.
Ace jack, wow. He really thinks Phil is like super nitty if he thinks Phil could have ace jack. You think Phil would just call with ace jack? I think Phil would jam ace jack.
You know, there are certain players that you can say things more definitively than others.
That's true. He's a bit erratic.
And I just would not want to get pigeonholed into saying that Phil will or won't do anything.
Fair enough.
So I just couldn't say that.
35.
If you're looking for a reasonable, well thought out response to a question, Doug Polk is your man.
Usually. However, if you don't want to hear, someone say that basically every option works, then I am not your man.
This is pretty interesting if Phil does go for it here. I don't, mind this hand choice, this hand selection.
As long as he doesn't call, I'm actually fine with whatever he wants to do.
New hand quad 6 is
But, Tonka not going to go away here with the jack after checking.
14,000?
Oh man.
I wonder if
Kind
this-
of awkward now at call versus jam for Tonka. I think clear call.
No.
Right? Kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Because it's such a weird raise relative to his remaining stack.
I would say, just like from my own point of view, that against Phil in particular, I think this is a relatively clear call. Just because Phil is more likely to have some just like random non-equity hands. And I'm just thinking of that Queen Jack hand against Jungle. It's like,
Yeah. By the way, I think you're completely right. Tonka looks way more comfortable now.
right?
You can just see, like, he doesn't really, like, need to think too long. He knows, like, what he's doing. You almost just knocked a bunch of drinks off the table there. That would have been
That's,
quite bad. Number 10, check.
Jack.
Check.
yeah. And a bit,
Jack's
bit
good.
a bit unlucky, at least for us, because we would have loved to see what happened if Phil did not hit a card he could
We
check.
had an F-bomb.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, we've had, yeah.
Fuck! All those fucking hands I trapped him. Shoot his fucking way out. God damn it.
new hand quad king to the 10.
Back to 20.
God damn it. Fuck. Fuck. All those fucking hands I had him dead. Damn it.
I'm all in.
Mm. 12, 13, 8.
This is like one of the reasons that Tonka jammed the 9-4.
All right, I
It's because like this is a clear. Okay, well he does call here, but it's a pretty clear call with the Jack 9.
Yeah.
And dominated by the King 9, and this could just be the end of the match here, and we'll go to a third match if Phil doesn't get lucky.
Wow, man. Tonka might do what no man so far in Kickadale has done.
What an
Take out Phil Hellmuth. He's got some outs, though.
Nice little deuce.
That is not one of
That
them.
works too.
And if Tonka ends up winning the
have
third
the guy
match, I
dead
mean,
4
what an
fucking
exciting
times.
final.
All right, rubber match.
I mean, fuck, I got him to call 8,800 when he was fucking like, I had him dead 14 times. I had him trapped 13 times for the match. Fuck.
30, 40.
God damn it. What a
30.
fucking joke. If you blow all your chips to me this time, don't get frustrated and stick them in with a flush draw, with one to come.
You guys want to take a
31,
break before we start up?
33,
No.
35, 37, 39.
Tonka, you all right? You want to take a break, Tonka?
I'm fine.
Okay, go right up. I'm going to start right up.
Actually, yeah, give me like 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 whole minutes.
You
To
can
stretch
take
my
5,
legs.
10 minutes. I don't mind.
No,
Whatever you
like
want.
literally just 2 minutes. I just need to stand up for a second.
All right, we'll
That's-
just take
that's all
we'll
it
just
is.
take like an 8-minute break, Matt.
It should be, yeah. 30, 40, 48, 49, 50. I'm pretty sure that's right.
All right, you owe me one. What'd you have that hand when it came a deuce, 3, 4, king, and then an 8?
Deuce, 3,
8 on the
4,
river. You bet 8,000.
Nines.
Yeah. Got it. Such a great read.
What'd you have? Ace 10, ace jack?
I had ace deuce.
Ace deuce.
My instincts
Oh,
were that
damn.
I put you exactly on 9s. It was an
All right, guys,
incredible
we're
read.
going to have an interview with our
Why'd you shoot a pre?
our two
I
contestants.
thought you had
Where's
9s.
this interview?
You didn't know I had nines there.
All right,
here.
we are back. Our two contestants are chirping at
that's-
each other because we are headed to a
That's what
rubber
I had.
match.
I mean, it's fine.
They're
if you're
going
having
at
all
it.
the
Please,
fun.
guys, stay clean. Don't. Are you guys gonna throw blows here? What's
everybody
going
else-
on?
Only
like
at you,
this.
man. Only
Okay.
at
Like
you.
this. Everybody
they're-
else
they're
goes
clear.
broke with that hand with ace deuce against your 9s, but I had.
Reading. We got The Poker Brat. It's a terrific book. It'll help center you. A lot of great poker tips in here. I learned a lot. I increased my ROI by $100 an hour after I read this book. Could we read you a quick passage, maybe? The Wolf's Den poker game. This is actually the one.
Go to somewhere else.
Somewhere else? Okay, we're gonna go to the photos of his family. This is actually where I really increased the skills in my game. Was photos. Who is this?
You can read the Wolf's Den. I don't care, but.
All right, you. Oh, okay,
There's
man,
more interesting stuff.
For this book, you keep flipping the new stuff. Is there anything I can? I'm over the top in defeat. That's very pertinent to what just happened right now. You're striking out whatever page we go to here, Phil.
Oh my God.
Good. All right.
love it.
Check the Poker Brat out. It's at Barnes and Nobles. Phil, do you think you took too long of a break between the first and second match? Is that maybe what threw you off the White Magic mojo?
Threw me off. I mean, I had him down to 20,000. I got him to put in most of his chips on a flush draw when I had trips. It was beautiful.
And then I hit.
Yeah, I mean, he needs a heart, a miracle heart. I think he's going to pay me off because I had it all set up like this hand that came up last month where I'm just going to move in quickly and Jungle Man folded trips. I think he calls me with a 3. I think match is over. But he hit a miracle heart. What can he do?
Well, I see you over there. I see you pacing, and I just want to know, do you have a Fitbit that is actually keeping track of these steps? Because you deserve credit for the pacing.
You're right. I have left my phone here. I'm not getting all the pacing.
Come on,
credits.
dude. You got to get those
I agree
points.
with
You got to
that.
get
Yeah,
those
yeah,
points.
you're
How
right.
are you feeling heading into the rubber match?
Really good, yeah.
Really good.
Phil's steamed up.
He's
you know.
steamed up. Because we've all been monitoring Mount St. Phil, waiting for it to erupt. You've gotten a few. What do we got? We got another one on the horizon?
Absolutely. You know, I'm just gonna hit some more flushes. I'm gonna outplay him on those rivers like I did exactly in that hand. You know, it's just that one was honestly really easy.
Is he still raising 100% of his buttons and continuing 100% on the flop?
It's going to be hard for him to win raising 100% of the buttons. That's what they don't understand. But
You don't
I
understand.
didn't raise 100%.
But we'll see what happens. I mean, you don't understand how much they have to overcome. He had to hit. He actually got hit a lot of flops. I'm pretty sure.
You got really
Yeah.
lucky.
Honestly,
You're
that's
gonna
the
miss
only
flop
way
so many times.
that I can win.
All right,
at
we're going to
this
let
point.
you guys take a piss break. We're going to let you get a cup of tomato soup. We will be back for the rubber match. King of the Hill 2, it's still going. Buckle up. Get your Ben & Jerry's pints of ice cream. Get your mocha frappuccinos. We're still going. We're still here. King of the Hill 2.